I'm going to walk us through the exercise of what I no longer want to do. This is one of my favorite exercises because this is where we can really see where the whole force function happens with time, like what you can no longer afford to do based on wanting to do greater things, wanting to do things that either bring you greater happiness or greater value or that are simply enabling you to increase your capacities. So this is just something that is an ongoing, to me, it's an ongoing practice. We do it seasonally based on trimester. I used to do it based on quarter. It's also something that I also do just on the fly or as you go. So I just wanted you to have, a walkthrough on how to do this. I've done this many times in live coaching with people. Decided to make a little separate video just on this lesson in case you just need to sit down and do it and you want someone here talking you through it. So I'm going to go based on things that are coming up in my life right now and also things that are based on the past. My guess is that for you, it'll be different, but some things will overlap. So one thing I no longer want to do. Okay. Recycling. I don't like doing my own recycling. I'll separate it. We have it in bins in the garage. I don't like taking it to the transfer station. So the amount of hours needed for that to happen, it's probably about an hour a month. And some of you might be thinking, like, where is this going? Like, why is that a thing? What I notice is it's the little things I don't want to do that add up that actually create stress in my life. So skills required are driving. We have, my husband has a work truck that we usually use for recycling. So driving our work truck or our work van. Hourly rate for doing this. My guess is someone would do this for around $15 to $20 an hour. And who do I know that is qualified? Neighbor, teenagers, and Winston has people that work with him at work that are laborers in general. So whoever fits under our laborer category, where might I find someone that's qualified? Well, if I needed someone new to do it, I could probably do our Facebook community page. All right, so that is just, you might be thinking, it's only an hour, but I'm thinking if I never have to do my own recycling again, wow, that's 12 hours a year. Fantastic. Okay, another one is Indy wants to do homeschool now, and I know that tutoring is required. I'm going to do this all in terms of months, so how much tutoring is required? Probably a good 4 hours a week, so 4 times 4 is 16. So I'll just say 16 to 20 hours a month. And the skills required are, just being a natural teacher. They don't have to be a qualified teacher. They could just naturally be someone that's good at teaching. They're into learning. They have a learner mindset. They understand online education or online schooling. So online education platforms, and they can follow instructions, and they like teenagers because she's almost a teenager. Okay, hourly rate for these skills. Oh, my guess is I'm probably back in the U.S., probably in the $15 to $20 an hour range. Who do I know that's qualified? Here I can even just brainstorm of a retired teacher or two. I can think of some people in my mom's community that are retired teachers. Probably I can ask my mom's friends. She lives a mile down the road. So if you think of someone who's tied to a network of people, there's a lot of semi-retirees or retirees that want to do something that keeps them interested in people and life and the community. So my mom has a good network of friends that would qualify for that. I can also ask my friend who's a librarian who's really connected to the school. I can actually ask at our local school. So where might I find someone qualified? Who do I know? What I'm seeing is I didn't actually answer that. I'm going to put a question mark in this one because I could brainstorm on that. and maybe could come up with someone or another. All right, let's come up with something else that I no longer want to do, that needs to get done. A big thing that came up for me was curriculum updates. So I create curriculums like this one for a living, and they need to be updated. And so we have to have someone who's really, what I've noticed is, like, I've been in charge of that, of keeping track of like what needs to be updated next. And sometimes an entire course needs an overhaul, and there might be 50 lessons in a course, seriously, no joke. So the whole thing might need to be overhauled and updated, but some stuff might be worth keeping, and then there might be workbook that goes with it and emails that go with it and stuff that needs to get put on the hub. So this did happen to me recently as I looked at the curriculum, as I needed someone to basically serve as the project manager and the driver for it, for actually getting a lot of the work of it done, besides doing the actual videos, which I still do. So the number of hours needed, this turned out to be about 20 a week, or about 80 a month, but not every month. So I could say 80 hours a month, but maybe only, if I really looked at it and I was strategic about it, probably 4 months of the year. And this is actually really helpful to do if you hire, even if I hire someone, part-time or full-time for the whole year, but they would only need to work on this project for part of that time. It's a way of me assessing how big a project I think that actually is. Okay, so what are the skills they need? Curriculum development, writing skills, and content familiarity. I would say the writing skills for our avatar, for like our target person, because someone can have decent writing skills but not know how to write for our audience. So the rate in here is probably about 20 to 35 an hour. Who do I know that's qualified? Again, it's like, if I don't know of anyone, I'm just going to put this as a question mark, but where might I find someone? I can ask in my community at Yoga Healer, and I'm just giving myself an action step at this point. Ask in my community at Yoga Healer. I can use my my Facebook following to ask around. I can ask in the Ayurveda communities that I'm part of, and I can ask my professional development network, or like my pro network, and like my pro network is like a lot of people who have done things like be on my podcast, etc. So if you don't know someone, it's like, where do the people know someone? All right, so I'm going to do something here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change number of hours needed per month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what's happening here. Is I'm going to take this on an average, because what I'm going to do is put an automatic add function in here to see how many hours I'm now freeing up for myself to be able to do things that are more important. It looks like this row. Okay. So now here I'm just going to do a simple add sum function, and we're going to add this column. So I've just freed up 99 hours a month, which if I'm only working a 30-hour work week, that's crazy, right? That is totally crazy. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of time while meeting needs that, and you can see I'm like astounded, while meeting needs that I currently am not meeting. Like, I'm not meeting my daughter's need with the amount of tutoring that she could really thrive with. So yeah, so you might also then, you can put a function in where you compute this as a budget. To do this, I'm just going to take an average of these things. So we'll say that this rate is $18 an hour. This rate is $18 an hour. And this rate we'll say is $28 an hour. Okay, so I just put that function in. So now we have the amount per month, and then we can just add up that amount per month. All right, so for me to basically get 99 hours of what I deem essential per month, it's going to cost me $2,500 a month, or $2,600 a month. Again, this is relative. So for me, looking at that, like relative to my salary, is that affordable? Is that what I really want or need to do? And it's not necessarily month over month either, because this number on curriculum updates, which is by far the majority, is variable, right? Like that's not every single month. For me to look at, I need a teenager or I need someone who's a natural teacher for tutoring for my preteen here. That's going to cost me about $325 a month. I can then assess, is that like, is it a good trade-off of my time and my interest? Considering it's on my, what I no longer want to do number, I would look at that number and being like, heck yeah. So that's just an example. Like for some of you, it might be like website updates, like things that you need to do on your website, or it might be social media, marketing calendar, something like that, something that someone else can manage for you. And you might say, okay, website updates, number of hours I need a month is probably 5 consistently month over month. And then you might have a question mark here under what is the hourly rate for these skills and what are the skills required. So depending on what kind of website you have, many people have a WordPress.org site, so they would want a WordPress org, basically a specialist in that or expert. If we look at, if you have a blog or a podcast, you might want someone that has experience with, WordPress and blog, etc. You might have plugins on your website. You might have a membership type on your website. So you would just put in exactly what the skills are required. And I like to overestimate the skills required as opposed to underestimate. I find especially right now in the global economy and in this global marketplace, there's some super skilled people out there, and I'd rather have someone be overqualified for a job than underqualified for a job, because otherwise what I start to feel like is I'm running a training company. So how much are the rates for these skills? These probably vary from, honestly, $5 an hour to about $100 an hour. So it's a huge rate in there. What you might be asking yourself is, in that, because our formula is only going to work if we put in a real number, is how much are you willing to spend? And say you're willing to spend $15 an hour, and the number of hours a month would then be like $75 a month for you. If you don't know anyone qualified, fine. Where might you find someone qualified? You could then try like Upwork.com, Freelancer.com, Fiverr.com. So there's a lot of different things when you go and you search online that, again, because the nature of the work is online, that could kind of be easy. So if we look now at this last one, social media marketing calendar, this doesn't apply to everybody, but like I'm kind of doing this more for like the entrepreneur type, or the self-employed person. Hours needed a month, maybe you want 2 hours a week or 8 hours a month. Maybe you'll really need to meet with this person and get them online, which would be another hour a month, or hour a week, or half an hour a week. So we could say 10 hours a month. Skill required would be social media marketing, in particular to the platform. So say you're just using Facebook and Instagram, that they would have marketing experience, let's say in your niche. So like they're familiar with the type of client that you're looking to attract. Again, the hourly rate for these skills could go anywhere from $5 an hour to, $50 an hour. Say you want to hire someone, we'll say at like people who do this for us an hour are probably around $20 an hour. And so what is that going to be a month? About $200 a month. And who do I know that qualifies? Say I don't know anybody, or say you have a friend of a friend, you might put that person's name in. say you're going to look online, because again, this is all online work. You could use any of these online sites to start to find somebody that would really work for you and would work in your company or in your little micro business. All right. So that is my little action tracker of what I no longer want to do. It's giving me a sense of how many hours a month I could offload. I could even say, given that there's 4 weeks in a year, I could divide this by 4. All right, so if I do this and I do hours per month saved, hours per week saved, and I'm going to put both of these in another color here. We have 114 hours per month saved and 28.5 hours per week saved at an investment of $2,857. Again, I'm using this example that applies to me, and depending on where you're at with scaling what you're doing, et cetera, you might come up with numbers that are really different. Like this number might be $100 and it might save you 5 hours a month, but boy, now you can take that 5 hours a month and really apply it somewhere else. Obviously, this is not taking into account that some people will need to be trained into positions, and that would take a little bit of your time. But the idea is that once they're trained, they could actually probably start to add more value and start to do more different things to you. And we often find this. My husband and I have a lot of different contractors and people working for us in various ways. And we often find that if someone's good, we just keep adding all the things that they're actually qualified to do that we don't want to do anymore as we grow. You can use this as an action sheet, right? So as you start to learn who's qualified, you can then add that there. Where might I find someone? You can use this as an action sheet of like, okay, now I better go look, and you'll just update your project management tool to add the people that, to add the things that you need to do to find the people and to train the people that you need to train in order to free up your time, which is truly your most valuable asset. All right, that is my what I no longer want to do exercise. Come back whenever you're finding you don't want to do something. I also just suggest print a blank one of these and just put it on your desk or put it where you work. If you spend a lot of time, in the kitchen, or you're spending a lot of time at your desk, like have it near where you are so that you can start to notice. I've had things show up on here like grocery shopping, making juice for myself. Like I have had people do all different sorts of things for me. Gardening or landscaping, composting, digging holes, all sorts of things. There's so many things that I don't necessarily want to do with my time. Just because time is limited, not because I don't actually enjoy digging holes or going to the grocery store. All right, namaste, and get on what you no longer want to do.